I gave you a whole speech. I made graphics.
That's right, you actually made a PowerPoint. I forgot that.
I did.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Big Brain Boogaloo. I have just woken up, so if I sound a little bit scratchy, that is why. Today we have pretty much the usual crew. We have Jasmine here,
Hello.
and Ian,
Yo, what up?
and Ness.
Hello.
So, we are
As
all...
you can tell, we are either just woken up or sick.
Yeah, we're all in really good shape right now.
Just
Like,
incredible shape.
Jazz is sick, Ian is like utterly sleep deprived, and Ness is also sick.
And sleep deprived.
And sleep
A double
deprived.
double whammy.
Let's go.
So, yeah, we've got we're doing great today, but we have a good little list of stuff that we're going to talk about. We have I suppose we should start with the first year anniversary of Overwatch 2. It is
Year
yeah.
one, baby. Done and dusted.
I remember distinctly the first anniversary event for Overwatch 1, and it was so damn cool, and they put a lot of effort into it, and I'm just contrasting that to what we got with Overwatch 2, and I feel like nothing embodies, like, exactly how far Overwatch has fallen than exactly that comparison.
I remember the Overwatch like anniversary. You know, it used to be one of the tamer events throughout Overwatch's history, but it always had like really good bangers of like skins and stuff like that.
For the
And
most part,
normally, yeah, and it normally be like a pretty hype time for like, oh yay, another year of Overwatch. And then I think it's because Overwatch 2 released so close to Halloween.
Yeah.
So they kind of had no other choice than like to have this very low key. But I can't help but feel like there could have been things that like things in the store that at the very least that would have been enticing. For example, like off the top of my head, like a cute little Mythic Skin store, like where you can buy the Mythic Skins that you missed out, and like, or else like you didn't reach that far into the battle pass,
Right.
or you skipped out on that battle pass for whatever reason.
Just like
that to me, off the top of my head, it would have been like, why did you do that? Like, Blizzard, money. Why do you accept money into your hearts? But I don't know, maybe I don't know, do you guys know why that might not have been possible?
I mean, I wouldn't say it was impossible. I'm sure people would have been upset if they had allowed Mythic Skins to be bought for anniversary, because they'd be like, oh, I paid and played through the whole battle pass 6 months ago, and now you can just buy it in the shop. It's like, there's that. Also, I think Blizzard still wants to maintain the idea of exclusivity with Mythic Skins, and it's like, oh, you gotta get the battle pass, don't miss out, you'll never be able to get it again. Even though I'm sure someday they'll come back outside, but
yeah.
I think for now they wanna keep the exclusivity mindset of only getting a mythic by finishing the battle pass.
I think it's wild that we've somehow reached the point where Overwatch 2 has managed to become worse than Halo Infinite. That's a fucking achievement, dude. Like,
no way it did.
Like, no, seriously. Like, because in Halo Infinite, if you don't finish the Battle Pass one season, you can just go back and finish it the next season.
Like, just activate it for that season.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that much about like battle passes, to be honest. I don't play a lot of games with battle passes, so for this I have to opt out. I kind of don't know, nor do I have any reference point. I just kind of know general like business savvy things, you know.
Right.
So I don't know what it's like in other games, but off the top of my head, I don't see the reason why not to have like a Mythic Skin shop, especially for like once a year.
Yeah, no, like once a year I would understand.
You know, you especially because the anniversary is very short.
Right.
It's much shorter than pretty much any other event that we've had. So you still get that exclusivity, because naturally you'll have like that skin, that Mythic Skin. You manage to have that for the entire year versus like people who just like come in, buy it, leave.
Right.
But you know, end all be all. Again, I can understand why this event overall was just very tepid because of the banger that is the current event. I have to say. Because we are going to probably swiftly move on to the current event, which is Rise of Darkness, the Halloween. Halloween is back, baby, and we have 17 new skins in comparison, which is
Right.
just crazy to me.
So
An entirely new event as well, on top of Junkenstein's Revenge and the Wrath of the Bride. Truly and honestly, they've gone all out for Halloween anyway.
So, like, I honestly barely know anything about this event. I know that there's some sort of PvE thing that I watched Ian play kind of briefly. But I honestly, I don't know much about it other than that, like, it's Diablo. Oh boy. Yeah, yeah.
So from my understanding, it's pretty much a Overwatch version of the new Diablo game that came out semi-recently. I think it was sometime in September, I want to say. Please correct me in the comments if you remember. But
They won't. They've forgotten to.
they forgot. Hence why Moira has this kind of like demonic look. If you guys remember when Overwatch 2 was announced, beforehand there was this very cool trailer for Diablo 4, and it was like this weird like skin lady at the end of it, and we were all like, "Yo, she looks sick." Apparently, Moira is that same character. She's Lilith,
Right.
which is like, honestly, I'm very surprised that it took this long to have like a Diablo crossover, or really many crossovers with other Blizzard properties.
Yeah, did we talk about this in the last episode, how, like, this is the crossover event they were teasing for ages?
I don't think we talked about it in a podcast episode, but certainly I think you and I, Astro, were talking about it.
Yeah. It's
Like,
like...
we've talked about crossover events or like shenanigans before on the podcast, but
We've talked about like crossovers with other properties, not really with Blizzard.
Yeah.
I mean, we always mentioned the like just internal Blizzard crossovers too. Just that wouldn't be the main event.
Yeah. So it's like... they hyped up this whole upcoming, event crossover. And, the first one was the One Punch Man, and that was pretty cool, even though I basically know nothing about One Punch Man. But so, like, we had reason to believe that crossovers would be, like, external IPs. So, at least for me, it's kind of lame that we just ended up with a Diablo crossover, because, like, there's nothing particularly special about that. Like, Blizzard could just do that whenever they wanted.
Also, do not forget that there's just zero crossover between Blizzard fans, apparently.
Yeah, that too. Like,
Oh, that's not true. That is
No?
not
Really?
true. I've seen.
I have not played a
Overwatch
singular
players.
other Blizzard game.
As far as-
Have you?
There are a ton of Overwatch players who are mega hyped that there's a Diablo crossover.
Yeah, I
There's
agree.
definitely
I've-
overlap.
Yeah, there's specifically with Diablo. I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's very much like for other
World of
other
Warcraft
Blizzard.
and stuff.
I don't think there's that much because they're violently different, but there's definitely like a weird Venn diagram for Overwatch and Diablo players. I don't know.
Right.
I have no idea why, but there is.
Yeah.
Like certainly Diablo is the one that I'm most familiar with of all the, and maybe like Warcraft underneath that. StarCraft, I have no idea. I have what's a star, what's a craft? I have no idea.
Right.
I
But,
booted up Hearthstone once, and after figuring out it was just slower magic, which, I think magic is already slow. I was just gone.
It was a
No more.
it was a similar thing for me. Like, as soon as I like booted up Hearthstone the one time I tried it, I was like, wow, this is just worse Gwent. So I just went back to Gwent.
Yeah, so for me anyway, I'm obviously very familiar with Overwatch. Hi guys. I want G. Then secondary is pretty much Diablo, mainly because I've heard very good things about it, and obviously that recent controversy that well, not recent, but it happened when I was getting into Overwatch with Diablo. It was the phone game. Remember the very
Fucking
infamous,
immortals.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
Immortals.
You guys
So
not
I
have
heard,
phones?
you guys
and
don't
so
have phones?
I heard about that, and then I looked into it, and I was like, "Damn, Diablo sounds kind of fun, and like it sounds pretty cool." I just haven't gotten like into it yet.
Right.
The
Then
marketing worked.
though it worked, god
God
damn.
damn it.
And then World of Warcraft, I know through like basically cultural osmosis. You know what I mean? Not
Right.
really like interest. But
Which is basically
for
just me
me,
with all anime.
fair enough, fair enough. So seeing this is like both a surprise, but also I'm kind of grateful for it because like we got some banger skins out of it, you know, and I'm like, you know what, fun event, cool skins. That's all I ask, really, out of Overwatch. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it's fine. I like the problem is that like I just genuinely don't care enough about Diablo to put that much like interest into the skins. Like I guess they look cool, but they're not like outstanding in my eyes, so I don't have a ton of reason to like actually get on and play a
I'm
ton.
actually I'm very surprised, Astro. I would have thought you'd be like drooling from the mouth with like the Reinhardt skin.
I mean, that's probably the one that I really like, because it definitely has Souls, vibes. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it's just sort of like, yeah, it's good, but is it good enough to like force myself to get on Overwatch and like put myself through that? And the answer is largely no, because like if you give me the choice between play Overwatch and get, you know, Reinhardt skin versus play Deep Rock Galactic and get funny big cannon,
Or pickaxe part.
or pickaxe part, or funny hat, it's like there's really no contest there because I don't even particularly like playing Reinhardt. So yeah,
I mean, that's fair enough. Like,
Also, where is this Reinhardt skin? I'm looking in game.
It's not available yet. It's presumably
Why did they
going to
do
be
this?
coming up soon. I mean, it's going to be in the shop at some point. Probably next week, I would guess.
Via Overwatch, release new content. Make it fucking unavailable.
Yeah.
right.
you got to make them interested to log in every week or so.
How am I supposed to get interested if it doesn't exist? There's no way for me to see it.
It doesn't exist yet. It will come.
Golden Reinhardt. Oh, there it is. Imperious. See, when I have to press buttons to be able to see it, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
Well, I suppose, like, agree to disagree.
What?
Also, it's shop only. I don't use that.
Yeah, that's the other
unfortunately.
problem. If it's shop only, there's like no chance of me getting it anyways because like I already give Blizzard money like with like feelings of dread every time I do so with battle passes. So like I don't know. I find it really hard to justify giving them any more.
I mean, not to point out the obvious. That's just sort of the problem with like Overwatch 2 being free to play. You know, they gotta make money somehow.
Yeah, I know. It's
Unfortunately.
absolutely
This
dog
is-
shit.
This is very much this is kind of what the community wanted. You wanted to free to play? Okay, this is everything's locked behind.
I sure
locked
fucking
behind
didn't.
paywall now.
I sure fucking didn't. I knew very well what would happen. I remember saying over and over again, you guys want free to play, it's gonna absolutely fuck everything up because we're gonna have to pay for every single little fucking speck of content. So
Am I the only one who remembers? Were we the only podcast at the time that was saying that like, no, this is not a good idea. We don't want to go free to play. I think we were the only ones at the time.
as far as I
and
know, yeah.
I know a lot of other people back then even were saying, don't do this, don't do this.
But definitely, like I definitely remember like the bigger podcasts mentioning it, being like, yeah, we'll revitalize the player
Oh yeah, yeah,
base.
yeah. The big podcast, like the big content creators, absolutely were behind it,
They're like, yeah, dude, this will increase the player base.
and it sure did increase the player base, but
It
like
sure did increase the player base
for like 10 minutes.
for 10 minutes, and then after that, they were like, fuck, now we get zero money. Not even Smurf accounts give us money now.
And now we don't
I
like get any content either.
Well, do we actually have confirmation about like did I know before PvE released, there was this article floating about where they basically said that yes, they noticed a very big dip in the player base and also in profits, but they reckoned that it would rise again once PvE
Oh
came
yeah.
for it. Does
Ooh, I'd
anyone
love
know?
to get updated numbers on that.
Yeah, I'm just curious that like, does anyone know if like there was any update on that, or did they release anything, or
They haven't
anything like
released
that?
anything, but based on the response that Invasion got,
I don't think
I
much would have changed.
I don't think they made nearly as much as they were hoping.
I don't know. It's very difficult to judge
And
because like people can be fickle.
oh, I understand that absolutely.
People can say they hated the thing and then like spend banger money on it. So
I mean,
it's gonna be very
yeah.
curious to see, or if it ever is announced. I think that would be very curious to see. But anyway, that's a little mini rant with like in
yeah.
terms of like cost.
The one
over and done
reason
with.
I don't think they will ever really reveal what it was is because I get the sense that it would probably be kind of a morale hit to the community. Which I don't think we need. So, yeah.
In what way do you think? Like it would be depressing that they got money, or it would be depressing if they didn't get money?
It would be depressing. It would be depressing to the community that like Overwatch had like gassed up the PvE so much, and then it came out and then like not actually probably a ton of people, like not nearly as many as you'd probably expect, got it. At least that's what I would guess.
Gotcha.
Because it would be the sort of thing where it's like, it would be the sort of morale hit where it's like, oh my god, like they can't even release like the PvE that they gassed up for 3 years and have it be successful. Now,
I think regardless of the outcome of the numbers, people are gonna start screaming.
Yeah, like, and I'm not going to say that like the PvE is like bad, because I think that overall I think it's a net positive for the game, and I would guess that they probably made back their money, but
No, they didn't.
really, you don't think so?
No fucking way they didn't. Well, I mean, on Overwatch 2's release, yeah. On Overwatch 2 PvE, no.
Okay, well, either way, it's
I don't know, because like not to sound shady, a lot of the content from that season was behind the paywall. So
Right.
I kind of feel as though like probably people would be moved to cash out, even just out of curiosity, let alone like just to get the other benefits.
yeah.
Well,
So that's
to
the reason
spoil
why
one
I'm
thing,
deadly.
Jazz, I have not played that entire season because I just couldn't do it.
But that's the reason why I'm very curious about it. But I suppose we'll just have to wait and see, and if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But anyway, regardless of the fact, back to the actual event that we're currently in.
Yes.
What do we think about like now that we've gotten semi-confirmation that Overwatch 2 will be having new events every single year? It won't be like repeats like we have suffered through for Overwatch 1. How do we feel about this?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you're asking like if you think this will repeat, I think that's going to depend entirely on how successful this PvE mode is. And at least from what I saw from Ian's stream, it is fine. It's fine, but it's not anything really good.
Mm-hmm. And Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's fine. Like, oh, it's fun. Kind of fresh, kind of different from the other PvE we've had, but like, by and large, it's like, played a few times, and honestly, I'm done with it, basically.
Yeah.
From what
I mean,
I
Not
could
like
tell,
Junkenstein's Revenge, where like Junkenstein's Revenge, I feel like I can go back and play again over and over again every year.
Yeah.
There's something about it, just the way you're holding off wave after wave.
Yeah.
And this new Trials of Sanctuary just isn't that.
So
from what I could tell from
in your
watching
opinion,
it just
in your opinion, it's not as engaging.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you just have all of these robots just in your face constantly, and just all the bosses are these giant like, like health bars basically that you're grinding away at, and it's just mindless point and shoot, which like kind of is what Junkenstein's Revenge is as well, but for whatever reason, that one is just more enjoyable to play.
yeah, like Junkenstein is kind of evergreen. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but what do you guys think about like the fact that, again, relating it back to the question that like we've kind of semi got confirmed that at the very least every year we'll probably have a slightly different event. What do we feel about that?
I mean, I like that because, new things every year, even if it's like the same level of Trials of Sanctuary. Like, I don't think Trials of Sanctuary is bad. It's just sort of, it's all right. And like, honestly, if we get something that's all right every year, that's better than the same thing every single year with nothing new. So.
I agree.
Because that's kind of what plagued Overwatch 1, definitely.
Yeah,
It's kind of
especially
like,
in the latter years.
oh yeah, especially during the hiatuses. Jesus, that was painful. Especially when they stopped with the archive events as well. Oh,
Yeah.
hurt my heart. So it did. But I for one, I'm very happy. I applaud the effort. Again, I think it looks very fun. I played a little bit. I think it's really fun. I don't think it didn't definitely didn't blow me away. But again, I agree with Ian. It's things where I won't knock new content.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it's free and playable.
Right.
For everyone. By the way, guys, with all this talk about like the Rise of Darkness and Lilith and stuff like that, and we haven't mentioned once about the new Mythic skin, which has apparently come out of Hanzo.
Onryo Hanzo.
So why do you guys think they went for Moira as a legendary skin and have promoted it so high, so much, but for Hanzo it was very much like and here's Hanzo on Twitter.
wait, is the Onryo not the Mythic?
no, it is.
Unreal is the Mythic.
Oh, it is the Mythic. Okay.
But like,
So
no one
Moira-
really wants it.
Moira is the legendary, and Hanzo is the
Oh,
Mythic.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I actually kind of like the Onryo skin.
Enough to get the battle pass?
No, God no.
Okay.
It's not even enough to get me to play Overwatch, really. But it's, I personally think it's kind of cool. I mean, generally Onryo aren't men, but
Yes, it's a female vengeance spirit, which I thought was pretty
like the Onryo, like they. You know how Japanese mythology just tends to be really, really fucked?
I feel like you're gonna say something really fucked in this moment.
So
Probably not safe for
Racism
YouTube.
incoming.
Oh no.
So like the Onryo is like on the scale of like, goofy, Kappa eats cucumbers to, the Onryo.
Murders
The Onryo is the Onryo. So on this,
Like the highest scale of fucked upery.
it's pretty fucked. Yeah, it's like
YouTube TOS level fucked?
not quite, but like if you want like the very idea of like the most horrifying ghost you can imagine, it's the Onryo. Like
Oh, it has right here. The Onryo are often depicted as wronged women who are traumatized by what happened during life and the exact revenge in death. These kinds of ghosts appear as extremely vengeful, ruthless, heartless, brutal, cruel, deranged, egotistical, bloodthirsty, and cold-hearted.
Yeah. So
Oof.
they have a tendency to like come back and kill family members. It's
Oh
It's-
no!
it's like-
Hanzo!
it's
Oh
I was-
god, that does. Oh my, that's
Oh,
not
no.
the most nice fit on Hanzo.
Oh no!
they just they're like
shady Blizzard.
the problem with the thing with the Onryo is that like you know how like with
I mean,
ghosts
the whole wronged women thing also seems very Blizzard.
oh yeah
Oh,
Ooh,
but you know how like ghosts are like, oh, they haunt you, it's so scary. No, the Onryo doesn't haunt you, it just fucking kills you. It just
Oh.
shows up and fucking kills you. It's
at least swift and easy.
no, it's not swift, it's not easy.
Oh.
It's generally
Painful,
agonizing.
but like inevitable.
They actually just like they're just like the most bloodthirsty, like cruel and sadistic creature in like Japanese mythology. And like they show up like generally with like wounds that indicate how they died, and it's really fucked up because like most common apparently is like in mythology is that they would be like women who were hanged, and so you
They
would
had, like things around their neck.
yeah, like they would have like blood coming from their neck, or like ones that die in childbirth. I don't need to explain how that ends up. So it
Right.
was like yeah, the Onryo's really fucked. it's a really interesting one that they could have gone for. I think it's weird that they went for Hanzo, although I think the reason they went for Hanzo is probably more the thematics of the Onryo rather than like the specifics.
Yes,
I mean, that seems like it. They're like, "Whoa, Japanese thing. Must be Hanzo."
Well, no. I think they chose Hanzo for two reasons. I think it's because one, Hanzo is very much like revenge, regret, that sort of theme. And the other reason is because Kiriko already had a mythic.
Yeah, I think the themes of the Onryo and like the folklore of it closer ties to Hanzo than it does Genji or
Kiriko,
Kiriko.
Despite Kiriko actually being female, which, as far as I know, Onryo always were.
Tracer's got plenty of male skins, so they're open
Yeah,
to that.
fair
Plus
enough.
the Greek skin, Zeus.
Yeah,
Gender is cringe.
I suppose that's a very good point. That's
I
a
mean,
very good
we
point.
literally saw Hanzo dressed up as a little Cupid.
Oh
You
yeah.
see-
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
glittered out in pink, and so I suppose they're like, who cares?
Yeah,
sick as shit.
I suppose that's true.
JQ Zeus people.
The
I remember some people got mad about that. Can you believe that?
the one thing that I will say about the Hanzo skin though is that if you look at it, it is not obvious that it's an Onryo. It's like it's just a spirit. He just looks like a ghost. Like, and I guess I understand why, because like I don't think the way that Onryo generally appeared would have like been able to keep the game rated T, but at the same time, like, why does it like honestly have nothing to do with the way they were depicted? Like, it's really strange.
So I think they kind of went for like the fiery aspect with the skin itself, because I know fire plays into the Onryo mythology in some capacity.
In certain versions, it does.
Because if you've ever played Phasmophobia, which I know you haven't,
No.
the Onryo is one of the ghost types in that game, and it's like special mechanics tied to fire.
I'm looking at it now on the internet, and it has more of an Oni look to it. It looks more like an Oni than an Onryo. Like,
I mean, it's probably like, not to be negative Nancy here. It's probably because like Hanzo has already. This is his third kind of Oni type skin.
I guess so, but I
So
honestly,
that's probably why.
it
Or at
just
least that's my guess.
it just doesn't seem like it. I'm looking at it to remind myself, and like, this really has like nothing to do with the Onryo. Now that I'm looking at it, this is like, I have no idea why they'd even call it Onryo. This looks, because this looks almost very Buddhist in its sort of like with like the beads around the neck. I'm not sure if Shinto has that as well, but generally I would associate
A little
it with,
bit, but
yeah,
that's also because in Japan there's a mixture of both
both,
religion.
yeah.
Like,
I'll be honest, Astro. When you mentioned like, oh, Unreal tend to have showcase how they died, and the specific image I was looking at had Hanzo to the side, so you can't really see the beads, but you can see the rope, and I just kind of went, Jesus. And then
that's
and
actually
then
a
now
good
now
point.
that I'm seeing it like in front, I'm like, oh no, they're not connected. But I was like, Jesus, Blizzard, holy,
Yeah.
calm down.
No, yeah. Now that I'm looking at this, I think it's dumb that this would ever be called Onryo. This like visually, this has nothing to do with an Onryo.
Visually, this does just look like an Oni. Like
It's just like an Oni that is also a ghost. It's not an Onryo.
with
I
swappable parts.
want-
Speaking of which, I haven't seen them.
I was
that's because there aren't any.
I was just about to say, I was like, do you guys think, going back to the question that I asked, like, do you guys think the reason why they're showing off the Lilith skin more than the Mythic skin is because of
It's
the fact that
underwhelming.
it's a little like, we couldn't really get
And
that
they
much customization in
they
it.
named it a stupid way because anyone who like knows anything about the mythology would look at this and go, "What the fuck? This has nothing to do with an Onryo." Yeah, probably.
Ooh.
They forgore.
Did they just call it Onryo because they've literally run out of other Japanese ghosts?
No,
that they could
no,
Specifically
no,
for
no,
Hanzo?
no, dude.
I think they asked Chat GTP what to call
Dude,
it, and this
there,
is the first thing it
there
came up
are
with.
so many fucking ghosts in Japanese mythology. Like, there's so many of them. It's actually kind of crazy. They trust me when I say they had options. Like, yeah, it's yeah. They could have
Insightful.
actually what actually could have worked is there's a type of ghost that actually is like sort of fire based. It's they have, at least in some versions, it's a ghost where it's like a bunch of like flying heads, which I guess they could have done something with, but they generally, in some versions, they like breathe fire and stuff. So maybe that could have worked better, but I don't know. There's so many, like, Japanese mythology has so many fucking ghosts. I just have no idea why they had to go with the one that doesn't seem to have much to do with, you know.
Why does it have like a dragon skull on it?
Because it's Hanzo.
No, but okay, I guess that might work.
Like, that's, yeah. That's like the best I can give you. So, yeah, that's the Onryo skin. I don't think it makes much sense, but
Oh my god, you're right. It has like no customization options. It has two bows and then the color.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What the? This is the first one with 0 model changes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's scuffed, dude. It's very scuffed.
At least the colors are kind of good.
Yeah, the colors are good. The colors are good, for sure.
Skin itself looks good. It's
Mm.
just the absence of customization is like,
That's like the whole
Great.
point, right? It makes it
yeah.
a lot.
And that's sort of the draw specifically for the Mythic Skins, is like how much you can customize it, and it all looks great. Like, to be fair, I think this is the first time that like we've actually had a Mythic Skin be a dud. Like, to be fair.
I would.
And spicy hot takes. Anyone
Well,
else?
not anything spicy. I just,
Come on, do it. Slander Adventurer Tracer, I dare you.
Oh yeah,
I will actually. It's kind of
awful.
mid.
It's awful, dude. I would
just-
go. I would go so far as to say it's actually just bad. Like,
Oh, but
Which
I,
mythic skins have there been so far?
I love
Genji-
Adventurer Tracer. What are you talking about?
There's-
That's the one skin that I'm like, oh, it's so cute.
there's been Genji, JQ, Kiriko, Sigma, Tracer, and now Hanzo.
The Genji one sucks.
The Genji one
Sorry,
is
had to say it.
yeah. The Genji one is I don't like either.
I don't
I-
like.
I strongly disagree with that.
I strongly
that's just-
disagree.
Look, okay, it's a good mythic skin. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. That's what I
I
would
just
say
think
about
it's
the Kiriko one.
fucking ugly because I don't like cyberpunk aesthetics.
I like cyberpunk aesthetics, and the one redeeming thing about, because I also just don't like the colors. I think it looks just kind of ugly, but I like the
The
idea.
Sigma one also just has no good pattern where the skin looks good.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I've said this before. My issue with like the Sigma one is like, it's just not what I would have wanted out of a Sigma Mythic skin. But like, it's fine. I think it's an interesting idea. But like, the in terms of like the Genji one, I'd say that the thing that really made me interested in it is that it has like the like whole like face mask with a holographic skull behind it is very reminiscent of a type of enemy from Halo that I really like, because they have the exact same thing. So like that was the one thing where I looked at it, I was like, oh shit, they put a Promethean in like Overwatch. So, but besides that, I just didn't care.
They really haven't done anything like the opening face mask again in any of the other mythics, have they?
No, they haven't.
Like a custom idle animation, you mean?
My favorite of the mythics is still JQ.
I mean, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's lacking customization a little bit, but it's
It's-
just a stronger skin
It's
overall.
just sick as hell, yeah.
I mean, no comment. No comment from me.
No,
Yeah,
Everyone-
honest, I just don't really care for the Greek mythology aesthetic. Like,
Oh, I love.
I have
the
nothing
Greek
against
mythology.
it. It's just not something I find interesting.
I love.
Oh, not.
shambles.
Oh, no comment from me. From not from that perspective. Just
I love.
pretty woman,
Muscle lady.
muscle lady, pretty.
I love.
Shoot lightning.
I
Hooba
love. I love Greek mythology, so I kind of went crazy for that.
The Tracer one is like all right.
I
I kind
just-
of like the knight aesthetic.
I
but,
just
um,
like the
it's-
two things the two like themes I go crazy for is like mythology and sci-fi. So, yeah.
Well, for me anyway, I loved the Tracer Adventurer one. That was the one that like tested my like strength. I was like, oh, I love this skin so much, and I love the fact that like it got like you got to level up with it, and it was just so cute. I just loved it. I loved the concept, but I can see how that might be very niche and might
Yeah,
not
I
be-
don't like the level up aspect of the Tracer skin because it's like it feels like if you're not using the highest tier version of it, you're like, oh, what? Didn't you finish the battle pass? Whereas the other ones are like, oh, you get to customize it and your own unique twist on the combination of things. Whereas the Tracer one, it's like, okay, there's just an endpoint, and like your goal is to reach that endpoint, and it's
I mean-
a singular point.
I might softly disagree with that simply because I don't give a shit about like whatever people think. I just do whatever looks cute. You know what I mean? I gotta beat baddies while looking cute, and I think all versions of this particular skin look adorable. So
Tracer's good at that, looking adorable.
that is true.
True.
Tracer does have a very adorable face. It's when she opens her mouth that's the problem.
Yeah, it's like the
A lot
same.
of
It's the
characters seem
exact.
to have that problem.
It's the
She
exact.
seems incredible until British.
It's the exact issue I have with Diva. It's like, oh, this design's really cool. I just hate it every time she opens her fucking mouth.
Yeah, again, it's just the British accent's a bit too much. And how kind of squeaky it is.
Oh, yeah.
And that's no shade to the voice actress, of course. She does a fantastic job with.
Well, like,
with
that was,
these
like, the goal,
It's more
right?
like exactly. It's just a character archetype that I don't like. So keep that in mind. But,
Character archetype: annoying lesbian.
Oh my god.
Itty bitty. Lesbian. But she's adorable. Like, look at it. Look at her face. Oh, she's so cute. But anyway, as for other skins, I'm not mad about the Sigma skin.
It's just
Mm.
not exciting.
Yeah,
I
and
love
then
the Sigma skin. It's my favorite by far.
What outfit do you use?
So I use like the officer's cap, the spiky balls,
Mm-hmm.
and then I sort of alternate between like the shoulder designs a bit, and then I go for the black color scheme.
Oh yeah, the black color scheme is the only acceptable one. Like, it's
Yeah,
actually
the
kind of
black
crazy.
is definitely the best.
I tried to make the light one work, but it just doesn't. All of the headdresses suck except for like the cap one. Also unfortunate. I wish there was one
Yeah.
that was just like a helmet.
Yeah, I guess like I have like the particular loadout basically that I like running with it, and I think looks badass. But then like all the other variants, I'm kind of sort of like, eh.
I mean, but that's kind of the beauty of the Mythic skins. That like you.
Yeah.
That's what's supposed to be the beauty.
Well, that's
Mythic
supposed to be
skins. And
happening.
it just kind of doesn't work.
Hanzo.
The Kiriko one, I don't have it
It's pretty
just
good.
because I didn't feel like it was better than the skin I was already using.
It's pretty good.
It's okay.
Well, yeah, pretty much like in terms of like other skins, though, this event is a banger. But like, it's just so disappointing, and maybe that's the reason why it's a bit of a disappointment for Hanzo is because of the fact that they just had so many other skins. I don't know. It's a head scratcher, but nevertheless, we do have other things that we need to talk about. The very big elephant in the room, which is the Sombra rework.
Oh yeah,
Oh
I haven't
boy.
played her yet, actually.
it's. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this
Right.
might be the second coming of Torbjorn, in the sense that like this is the 1 in a million like Overwatch rework where like it actually improves the character. I think, unlike basically every single other one that they've done.
Now I'm going to keep my opinions to last as the former the former well, not Sombra main, but more like she was the most consistent roster pick. Because as you guys know, I like to change it up. So I'm going to keep quiet until further notice.
Right.
So I'm very intrigued about you guys first.
I mean, I like it.
Ian?
I like it in that she's marginally less annoying to play against.
Yeah, that's so far the only part I specifically like. It's just she isn't frustrating to play against as much.
Interesting. So
I haven't played as her yet, so I can't really comment on that.
Oh wait, hold on. Am I in a very interesting position where I'm kind of the only one who plays Sombra consistently?
No, I play
Oh.
Sombra. I just haven't played this version of Sombra yet.
Gotcha. No, because I was
Oh.
I suddenly remembered. Oh yeah, you got Astro and Ian. You both are tank mains. So I was like, oh wait. So from a tank perspective, what do you guys think of her?
I mean, it doesn't change the fact that she's super fucking annoying, but I've just made peace with the fact that that's just what Sombra is. And so the fact that they did like this one kind of small thing of making it so that she doesn't just have like a get out of jail free card where she just gets to cross the map entirely just like instantly is nice. I like that. I think that the permanent invisibility while not in combat is kind of a little bit wacky. But I don't hate it because in all honesty, that's what Sombra mains did anyways. If they were moving
Perfect spectator character.
Yeah, if they were moving outside of combat, they were just invisible anyways. That's just how they used the character ever since they've removed the duration limit. And so I think that's probably fine. And as for the gun, I think it's really funny that they decided to up the damage. I don't hate that. They just did it. And I think the way that the translocator works is actually pretty cool. I think it's kind of like... I don't know how to describe it. I just like the idea that it's something that... They basically made it so that the way that you use it now is the way that you would previously like go in to use EMP, which is just toss it in, translocate to it like when it's in the middle of the enemy team, and just like smash the Q button. Like that was just how people used it anyways, and I think that's the best kind of rework, is when you don't alter the way that like people who main the character operate and like play like the character functionally. You just like sort of change more specific things that are annoying. And so all in all, I think it's a good rework. The one big gripe I have with it is that Virus is like, why does this exist? I feel like they could have done something slightly more interesting, but overall, I think it's a good rework. What do you think, Ian?
I mean, basically that. Like, I just like that it's easier to punish her when she goes in and hacks you now, just because she can't get out of jail free across the map anymore. And yeah, Virus is like I've said this before. It's such an underwhelming, uninteresting, boring ability that it's like, why does this even have to exist? Like,
right?
It's just like, haha, another fun. It feels so much like Ramatra's particle field, whatever it's called. Yeah, Vortex.
Vortex. What? The cosmetic ability?
Yeah, it just feels horribly underwhelming. Like, sure, technically it's useful. It like adds value to the character's kit, but the ability itself just feels like nothing. And it's like okay, she has this extra thing now, but like, is it fun to use?
There's no fanfare to it. There's no like, oh, cool, you hit it. It's just a very slow 100 damage over like a few seconds.
It's just a worse Symmetra alt
but it
fire.
Doesn't feel cool.
It's a worse Symmetra like secondary fire. That is what it is.
No, it's more of a just apply poison ability.
Does it not have? It doesn't have any burst. It's just
no.
Okay,
no,
so it
10 damage upon hit.
Okay, so it honestly sort of is just a worse Symmetra secondary fire, because like at least for that you get like an instant burst of damage. This is just like an awkward damage over time.
Looks like a Symmetra secondary fire too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It operates like when it's like a slow, large projectile.
Wait,
that's
is it
holographic.
Actually the same projectile? Hold on.
One thing I should add, I should ask though, I actually don't know this, is if you hack after it's landed, does that still boost the damage?
I don't actually know. I was thinking about that, and I haven't seen that tested specifically.
Because
I'm sure somebody's tested it.
If that's the case, that just honestly makes it sort of terrible, because of how short the duration of hack is now.
Hack boosts the damage.
Even if it's already been damaged, like it's already landed?
Huh? I don't know. Wait,
Oh.
so you mean that poison first, then hack?
Yeah, does that boost the damage?
Hold on.
He's cooking.
Yes, it does. It does go faster.
Oh, wow. Alright, so that's actually not terrible. Honestly, that seems like the way you should probably
it's not
use it.
weak, that's the thing. It just feels underwhelming.
Yeah, but that honestly feels like the way you probably should use it because of how short the duration of the hack is.
Well, what you'd probably do is you'd throw it in, then hack someone, because then if you fuck up your hack, you at least get the damage in.
Right.
And since it doesn't really have a startup or like cancel animation, it's instant.
Right.
Like it's kind of a why not ability.
Right. It's honestly sort of like Vortex, where it's like there's no reason not to
Vortex
use
you have
it.
to actually think about. This one is just a lot more mindless.
Right. Yeah.
What is like a good example of another ability like this? I don't think other characters have it's like Diva's missiles.
Oh yeah, it's just sort of like, all right, it's on. It's
Most
off
people
cooldown.
kind of just use them as a like, oh, it's up, might as well.
Yeah, it's off cooldown. Just press the button.
Yeah.
So, all right, I guess that makes sense. Or it's also like me with the rock.
Oh, it's off cooldown. Chuck it in there.
Yeah,
See if it hits someone.
Exactly.
Throw it in.
It's like, oh, rock off cooldown. Press the button.
Shiny button. Ooh, flashy. It's literally like the Overwatch equivalent to like jangling. Must press.
Overwatch gameplay is a lot like jangling keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No one can deny that.
It's the most like agonizing jangling of keys.
For me anyway, I am kind of astonished at how well this kit flows.
Yes.
I think I told you guys this in our little when I got to test it around, and I was like, I am incredibly impressed with how, because when you look at it on paper, I'm like, oh, this is a nightmare. Oh, this. I wake up and I see this. But honestly, actually playing it, it's actually very intuitive. It all flows very well, and there's very it kind of rewards that very active playstyle rather than passive playstyle, which I've always criticized about Sombra, about how like honestly a lot of her kit leaned on being like very passive, not really doing much, not really contributing to much, which is the reason why Sombra came across as either weak on your team or very annoying on the opposite team. So I feel as though this push to basically essentially punish bad Sombras is a good idea.
Right.
So you always have to keep moving. You always have to. It kind of brings her into the realm what I was talking about when I compare her to like a Tracer or a Genji. You know, when I used to say that, and people would be like, "That sounds whack. That's not what Sombra does." But like, no, that's kind of what she's meant to do.
Right.
But she's meant to pick off kind of like the stickier, kind of like squishier opponents. With the only criticism that I can give, and that is what I just said, that she's meant to give us squishier characters, but I kind of feel as though they've either through accident or just by the fact of like how Overwatch 2 currently works, it does kind of put a big target onto tanks. They have just accidentally made her a bit of a nightmare, even more of a nightmare for tanks. When prior, you'd normally go for supports. Tanks, you would normally just go off for the hack just to like penalize them, more or less.
Right.
Not really necessarily going in for the kill. Versus right now, you could pretty much very safely take down a tank. But having said that, you can. You pretty much can, especially if you know especially if you know what you're doing. Again,
I have a feeling if the tank knows what they're doing, they can just say no.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to consider the fact that the current problem of like Overwatch 2, which is like not a whole lot of tanks can say no right now.
No, we really can't.
They really can't.
I used to.
All of them except for Sigma, and
I used to be able to say no by
Not
killing
really.
things, but I can't do that anymore.
So the current problem of like Overwatch is kind of like Overwatch 2 is that like for some odd reason they're just bringing back CC, and I don't know why. I don't know why we solved this issue, and because they're bringing back CC and also now have way more cleanses than they used to have, that very few tanks are kind of in an awkward spot at the moment, where tanks like Zarya and Orisa utterly clean up the place. They because they can handle that versus tanks like Reinhardt, Roadhog, Ball right now. They're kind of suffering.
I feel like every tank is suffering except for maybe Orisa.
No, Orisa and Zarya. If you want to win a game right now, you could just play Zarya and win. Just win by existence. Or at the very least, that's how it came across for me. But that's probably a different topic for a different day.
Yeah.
However, everything that I've just criticized about Sombra can be tweaked. You can like edit that ever so slightly, which obviously we'll probably see in a mid-season patch at some point. However, I am so impressed with how well this flows, between tightening up the machine gun, the hack, how the stealth is like, I can't believe this works as a passive does.
Yeah.
A little janky, but it works.
If I could bring out another criticism, and I really hope that fixes it, and that is the really jank animation that she currently has.
Oh yeah.
Horrific.
What is going on with that?
What is happening? It's so bad it genuinely looks like a mistake, and it's so... Listen, we've criticized Blizzard for many of things. This is not one of them, for their like animations and like bringing out personality through animations, especially for Sombra. So this is a little heartbreaking to see this like weird, like she basically looks like she's going in for a thumbs up and a click of the fingers, but she does neither, and then she brings her fist down.
Yeah, she's like I'm about to snap my fingers, and then she doesn't do it.
Yeah, it's very awkward and weird, and I really hope that's a case of like maybe there's some weird bug, or they just haven't finished it for whatever reason. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure currently it's just a slightly bugged, sped up version of her old one.
It doesn't
is
really.
it?
The thing is that it doesn't really do the move of the original.
But look, it does the movement, but like it's angled weird. Its
Yeah.
angling is wrong.
Right.
Well, not really, because she used to do this big, huge hand sweep, which would be rising up, going across from pretty much like from left to right, if I remember correctly. And then she'd bring it down. Versus now, it just kind of looks like she brings it up and brings it down.
I'm looking at it right now. It just looks like she starts the old animation, she gets stopped in the middle of it, and then just goes down.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder what's happening if this is it. But I really hope that changed that. Otherwise, no notes. Honestly, very strong rework. I'm very impressed. And this is coming from someone who was a little skeptical, especially after them saying like, oh yeah, we're looking into either getting rid of hack or translator, which I think caused the community to go, no!
To fucking panic, yeah.
Especially when Virus was first introduced, when it was showcased, and we were like, oh no, not hack and translate this shit.
Right.
Especially because like Virus is kind of one of those like understated abilities, but given the fact that how complicated Sombra's kit tends to be, I don't mind an understated ability. Honestly, she probably does need it to something a bit more simple than like, say, like hack, for example, is quite complicated, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So for me, I see it as a necessary evil, even though I understand where your criticisms that like it's not flashy, but it's like I feel as though with Sombra, there's kind of like there's something called hero pieces or statement pieces in design. For Sombra, she has a lot of hero pieces, which is kind of the problem that the developers kind of said that they had. That like hack and translocator and stealth are all really important to Sombra, but something's got to change.
Right.
So to have something understated like Virus, I think is very needed, especially for like long distance, something that Sombra kind of struggles with. Being able to toss that out, chef's kiss. Don't mind it.
It's a way to increase her damage and consistency without buffing the damage of her gun straight up.
Right. That is good. I agree. That's good.
Yeah. And I've always said that like the reason why Sombra's machine pistol couldn't really be touched or really buffed is because of the other things that she brings onto the table. So again, it's very, very, very chef's kiss.
I mean, they also buffed her gun, but not much.
But not much. I don't think it's like terrible. I don't think
a
it's
whole half damage, Jazz. It's
Especially-
over. It's fucking over. Tracer is in shambles.
Teresa from Dead in Miami. R.I.P. little lesbian. Why are we bullying Tracer this episode?
Because she deserves it.
Yeah, it's time to give Kiriko a break and bully somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Bully the other lesbian. But anyway, given the fact that like they've also semi-nerfed the locator and stealth, kind of feel like, all right, giving a little minor buff to the pistol machine kind of warranted.
Right. So, we now have the other rework imminent that's coming mid-season, which is the one that I am infinitely less optimistic about.
Now keep in mind, allegedly coming up.
Yeah.
Blizzard soon TM might strike.
The
I mean, they've basically gone out and said it'll hit in the mid-season patch, right?
Yeah, they even said it in the trailer for the season, so I feel like they're dedicated.
That was a trailer note?
I'm just saying, Blizzard has also said things in trailers. I'm just saying, guys.
Yeah, fair enough.
Happened before.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
But
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We'll believe it when we see it with our own two eyes.
So I think I've said this on this podcast, like God knows how many times, but like there is no way that they can take a hero like Roadhog and rework him and have it, like, still really be Roadhog. Like, unless they change, like, almost nothing. Like, Roadhog is the sort of character where, like, there's not much that defines him. And, like, so, like, you change much of anything and it's just not Roadhog anymore.
Look, honestly, as long as he's still guy who throws the hook, I'm good, you know?
Yeah, but, like, I don't know. It's not really...
I don't really care how he throws the hook, what the hook ends up doing. As long as he still throws a hook and pulls a guy in, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really stand by that. It's like... no, I feel like there's no way that they're gonna do this rework and not have it be a fuck up. Like, just genuinely.
I don't know, because from what we've seen, it kind of looks like Roadhog has a new breathing animation. Do you know, like, the heal? I can't remember.
Take a breather?
Take a breather, thank you. It looks as though he has a new animation, so that kind of gets the brain juices flowing, kind of hints towards maybe that's the ability that has been most reworked. Having seen the Sombra one, I'm impressed, so I'm going in optimistically, but also Roadhog is not a character that's ever in my wheelhouse, so therefore I can understand I don't have that much investment. However, I can say, just looking from Sombra's, looking positive anyway.
Yeah.
And again, I feel as though Sombra is a much easier character to kind of fuck up, given the fact that how complicated her kit used to be.
I'm actually gonna
continues to be.
I'm actually gonna argue the opposite. I think that Roadhog is so easy to fuck up because he's so simple. It's...
Well, counterpoint. He just won't be simple anymore.
But that's what I mean. The fact that he's
But, like,
simple...
is that a problem?
Yes, actually.
That's real fear, isn't it?
I actually would say that that's a problem, because one of the things that made Roadhog so nice is that you just picked up Roadhog and you just... It's Roadhog.
And he has, like, a whole one button to, like, care about.
And it was a button that, like, was just... that, like, he didn't need any other buttons. It was just, like, the entire satisfaction of Roadhog came from a single button. And honestly, I think that's actually really nice. Especially, like, because broadly, I don't agree that, like, complicated heroes are, like, a bad thing. I do think that it's nice that there should be some heroes where, like, yeah, they have this one button, and this is where the satisfaction comes from. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I can't really get behind complicating Roadhog.
Well, I wasn't really saying that, like, Sombra, like, as in, like, there are so many various components to Sombra, so therefore it is very easy to kind of, like, make people angry and to kind of make her out of whack.
Right.
That's kind of what I meant by, like, very complicated. Especially given this is, like, what, her fourth rework? I want to say? Like, a rework that they specifically noted as a rework.
For Sombra.
Sombra, so I think it's something like that.
I think she's had one, and then this is her second?
Something like
no,
that.
No, it's definitely been... No, because remember, there was Infinite Stealth and the different translocator. Then there was the rework at the beginning of Overwatch 2. And now this. So
Right.
at minimum, there has been 3. And I think there might have been a 4th.
Right, they called the transition to Overwatch 2 a rework, when it was just like, you can now hack while stealth.
Right.
And I do... And consider the fact how different she is, basically. Like, even though she has the same abilities, how different she is from, like, launch.
Right.
It's night and day. So that's kind of what I meant by, like, complicated. With Roadhog, and in terms of, like, complicated kits, people kind of know what I'm, people kind of know what I'm thinking and what I feel. I don't think it's a very good idea, and I think, in a weird way, because they've stuck to their ground and not continued with the new heroes, which get more complicated and more bloated, I would argue. Even though they feel good, they still are bloated, in my opinion.
Someone please tell me exact statistics for any of Ilari's abilities. Like, I dare you.
I look at Ilari and I'm like, this is a mystery. This hero is like, what is happening? I have no
somewhere,
idea.
sometimes she does like 100 damage all of a sudden, and then
There's blinding
that's it.
light. I can't see. She shoots.
The
she
ultimate
flies.
keeps killing me.
I have no idea what's doing, what's going on there. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But for Roadhog, unfortunately, it's just one of those cases because Blizzard has been very, or like at the very least, Team 4 or Team Overwatch have been very consistent in like, no, we believe this is the way to go. Heroes like Roadhog have been kind of left behind, in terms of like, just in general power creep and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I agree with you. Like, don't like you know me. I do agree with you. Simple is better.
Yeah.
I have always said this, but whether or not they're going to do that, I don't know. Whether or not that's healthy for the hero, I don't know.
The problem is that Roadhog fundamentally, I've said this before, unless they like change up literally everything about the hero, it's like the hero struggles without a ability that lets him just consistently kill something, because like they could make it so that, like, I've said this before, the only way that they could make it so that Roadhog is any good without a one-shot is if the utility they give him is fucking ridiculous.
Do that. I'd love that, actually.
But, like, that's just... nah. That's, like... we already have...
Here's one.
We already have
Lower the cooldown on Hook, make it not stun, but it still pulls.
That would be fine, too, but it's just, like... I feel like we already have some crazy utility lately with, like, Kiriko and just, like, Lifeweaver and stuff like that, and even, like, Shout is, like, kind of crazy. And I don't know. I feel like the fact that we just have this character that his whole thing is he just kills things is so wonderfully simple and doesn't present the problem of ridiculous utility, because let's be honest, like, generally speaking, like, crazy utility is probably more broken than, like, the possibility to kill something every 8 seconds with a one-shot.
Let's say that, but Widowmaker has also been a problem since launch.
No, but that's the thing. The thing with Widowmaker is that she can do it every 0.8 seconds.
Yes.
Which is...
But they figured out that was also a problem on Hog, that he did it too consistently.
I mean, he did it every 8 seconds. That's far more...
and he wasn't as punishable.
I think the only reason that he became hard to punish was because of Kiriko. Like, genuinely.
I mean,
Well, but Kiriko is just a fundamental existing force now.
Every time, like, no, not to diss Hog, but every time he's been meta, it's been kind of a nightmare.
Oh, like, no, I mean, Hog is not the sort of hero... Hog is not the sort of hero where I say, like, oh, this should be meta. He's just Hog, and he had this one thing that he contributed, and it was, like, when it was time to pull it out, you pulled it out, and he was, like... It was so simple, and it wasn't amazing, but if you knew what you were doing, he was really effective and really rewarding. And I don't really see how the kit works, even, like, with some sort of rework, unless they change him entirely. That doesn't work without some sort of one-shot.
I mean, we don't kind of know how big or how small this rework is.
Which is fair.
We do know that it was announced around the time of Sombra's, and we've seen how kind of heavy-duty Sombra's is. Even though, like, it's pretty much the same abilities, they are quite different. So I suppose we won't kind of know until we see it, till the mid-patch.
Oh, no, I agree. I can't say anything for sure until after we see it. But I just have such a visceral objection to the idea of, like, some tanks having one-shot abilities that, because of, like, the role that it plays and, like, the role that it plays in the identity of the characters they're on, or they were on, that I have a hard time seeing what they could do with a Roadhog rework that wouldn't fundamentally fuck something up.
I suppose we'll just have to wait and
We'll just have to see.
see.
We didn't ask.
Yeah.
We didn't ask Ian actually. Ian, what are you thinking?
I want him to be fun to play again, and by that I mean I want him to be useful in any capacity whatsoever, other than dragging people into a well.
That is
I like
very
how
fair.
people, when he got nerfed, were like, "No, guys, he actually got buffed on specifically Ilios well,"
Yeah,
and then that was it.
I don't know. I feel like the one thing that they could do with Roadhog that would just like make me just be fine with anything they do is just reverse that one awkward nerf where like they changed the distance of the hook pull. I feel like that one thing would make me largely not care what they do. So
Lower his damage by 400%.
God no.
Make him shoot like paper.
I mean, he basically does.
No, he doesn't.
I know, like, is shrapnel? It's just a bunch of, like... It's like a bunch of, like...
He can one-shot on close range. He's the only shotgun hero that can do that.
No. I'm saying, like, just, like, look at the shrapnel. It looks like, just, like scrunched up paper. For all we know, it could just be, like, really sharp paper.
I mean, it looks like it. However, we also need to remember that he does still have the highest shotgun damage.
Oh, yeah, but he could... for all we know, he could canonically be killing people with paper cuts.
I mean, if you stuff enough paper in there...
That's why they're all terrified of him. It's the
you can
paper
kill
cut,
people
like...
with paper.
He has a paper cut gun.
I mean,
All along.
technically Maximilian also gets it done that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
the John Wick of Overwatch. He killed people with a pencil.
So,
A fucking pencil.
anyways, moving on to another rework I'm absolutely fucking dreading.
I haven't heard about this.
Pharah.
Oh, this one, they very much like put this under the radar. It was very much like, oh yeah, we're working Pharah and we're making her fly less, and I'm like, fly less?
Fly
What do you
less?
mean?
The flying character? Fly less?
The flying character. The flying character.
This is actually, fundamentally, this is actually the exact same problem I have with the Roadhog issue. It's like, the one-shot character not doing the one-shot, the flying character not doing the flying.
Not flying. now,
Okay,
keep in
look, by
mind,
that definition, the Sombra rework making her hack last less long also fucks up the
No,
rework.
because
I
it's
don't
still
think
a
this is
hack.
going to be that bad.
No, you don't think so? Okay.
The current problem people have with Pharah is that your team
She
either
flies.
counters it or she wins.
I don't know. I think that depends on, like, a skill level. thing.
Also depends on which platform you play on, which
That
makes
is
it
true.
extra frustrating to balance around.
That is true.
I know we have had this conversation. It was just before Echo was announced or released, or something around that around Echo, where I said like, oh, it's kind of like it's a bit awkward. Flying characters a bit awkward because on console they're a nightmare. On things like PC, it's perfectly
It's
fine.
trivial.
So
Yeah, unless you stick
so-
a mercy on them, and then they're still unkillable.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like this could, but it's the instinctual like Pharah not flying that much. And now keep in mind they did mention that like it's in what they're currently testing. This might never see the light of day. Her flight
God, I
pattern
hope
might
not.
be perfectly fine. Well, we don't know, so it might not see the light of day, and we also don't know exactly how much of a rework she is getting. Again, it's one of those things that like we won't know it until we see it, and I don't want to make too many comments, but I will say immediately hearing like Pharah doesn't fly as much, and it's like, well, why?
My personal approach is hopefully we just don't see it.
Also, you need to remember, Pharah doesn't fly as much means she can't fly 24/7. Because
Yes.
currently she can fly 24/7
Yes,
if you do it right.
but at the same time, it's as you just said, it's if you do it right, and like,
Which is fairly easy.
which is fairly easy, but it's not the sort of thing where it feels insurmountable. Like even on console, I found that like, is she annoying? Yeah, but even as someone who like has a hard time aiming, especially on console, she was not, because she's so slow in the air.
Not anymore. They buffed that, remember?
No, I don't actually. I don't remember that. When did they buff that?
They buffed it a long time ago.
No, either way, I've never had terribly much issue with Pharah, which is funny because I'm terrible at hit scan. Granted, the way that I historically dealt with Pharah was
shield at her?
No, was just the Astro method, which is to say, I go Doomfist and I fall from the skybox and uppercut her midair and just kill her.
Okay, but
I just
what if you're on
arrive
Route 66, then you're just fucked.
Buddy, I figured it out. It's like,
Okay.
there is like, Route 66 has so many places where you were able to bounce and diag that like, unless she was truly, like, the one place where that was really difficult was Second Point, but the one way that you dealt with that was by going on the roof, like that high roof, and then you could usually do something. But for the most part on Route 66, she was not terrible as Doomfist, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this might be another... this might sound stupid, but I feel like this genuinely might be a similar issue to, like, the way that people complain about, like, Roadhog and Doomfist in the past, where it's like, buddy, this genuinely is just sort of a skill issue. Like, it's like, I understand that it's harder to aim on a console, but if I can fucking do it, you can do it. Like...
But when was the last time you played on console?
No, I played on console... Last time I played on console was... late 2019?
Yeah. Pharah's movement speed in the air was buffed after that point, I'm pretty sure. 'Cause that's kind of...
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
I think
Yeah,
it was closer. It was during the hiatus, I believe. Either that or just when Overwatch 2 launched, somewhere around there.
I'm pretty sure it was during the hiatus, but the hiatus was a very long time, so...
Yeah, who knows when it could have been.
And also it happened, a lot of it happened during the pandemic, and as we know, time stopped.
Time stopped.
During the pandemic.
Time stopped. Brains ended.
Time became nothing. It's still 2016.
Essentially. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on the Pharah rework. It's like, it's just something I fundamentally hope we don't see, because it's like, I'm so sick of them going after like fundamental aspects of character identity. Like, it's so fucking obnoxious. They've already done it God knows how many times. They did it with Bastion by saying like, oh yeah, he's just not going to transform whenever he wants. It's fucked. And
Alright. Conspiracy theory time.
What?
This whole Pharah rework thing is just all a giant ploy to get Yasin out of the top 1.
That, who knows? What about you, Ian? What are you thinking?
I'm kind of indifferent towards it. Like, I think it's... I don't know, like, I'm kind of interested to see what they would come up with, which is, like, normally the case when it comes to reworks like this. I'm curious to see what they end up doing. But, like, I don't really care on this one, because I really don't care about Pharah, so...
Ian has, like, Ian has the opposite reaction to me. He responds with curiosity. I respond with, like, horror. Like, what they're gonna do.
Absolute terror.
For a character you don't even fucking play.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Like, it's just like...
A character who you'd rather, like, not even play against, as well.
Yeah, but I've come to terms with the fact that some characters I'm not gonna like, and that doesn't mean they should be ruined for the people who play them. So, like...
I disagree.
Except Widow.
Sombra.
No, even for Widow, I think I've explained that, like...
There's no grace left for Widow.
I think I've explained that, like, I would be kind of upset if they removed her ability to one-shot.
I wouldn't.
So...
I'd rejoice. I just hope that her ultimate would allow her to one-shot.
In fact, why don't we just strap her to, do it Salem style? Just
Oh
strap her
god.
Just get rid. Don't delete her.
Listen.
Just burn her.
Listen.
Burn her, the witch.
Listen, I know I'm from Massachusetts, but I can't endorse that.
The one
I
thing
thought you
can't.
partook in it.
It was a little bit before my time, Ian.
Just a little, though.
Just a little bit.
Really? How old are you?
23?
on the rock.
23?
He's about to say like,
Right,
"Oh,
so
I saw you
not
last week."
230. Right.
No, I'm not doing
Wait a minute, I
230.
thought you were on the Mayflower. What?
Yeah, buddy.
He was it just Astro. Do you know like the ending of Summer where she's like in that huge
Yeah.
like flower gown and like the crown?
Yeah.
It's Astro.
Oh yeah, I've been around for a while.
So far in the episode, we have bullied Tracer and we've bullied Widow. What else? Who's coming next?
And we've bullied Astro.
We bullied Astro.
And we bullied Astro. I mean, we do that every day.
Yeah, you do.
Lovingly. Lovingly. Anyway, speaking of bullies, I know this is a weird cross section. I know. We have gotten a new map, which wouldn't have normally been that revelatory, except it has a few interesting teases
Of the ultimate bully.
of the ultimate bully. Well, hopefully, anyway.
God, I hope so.
Of the
the big man.
but
If they release
we'll get to that.
if they release
get to
this
that
guy and he
in a
does
few minutes.
pitiful damage, I swear to fucking God.
We'll get to that in a moment, but first we'll get to Samoa as a map.
Okay.
What do we think of it?
I love it.
played it.
It's gorgeous.
I
It's a
love
map.
it.
It's gorgeous.
Do you know what? I haven't loved too much. Okay. Keep in mind, I don't think Overwatch can make a bad map, like an ugly map, even if they tried. You know what I
Right.
mean? This is gorgeous. Look at it. It's so beautiful.
There are, however, some like occasionally questionable decisions being made.
Such as.
Why is one of them just in a lava section? What
Because
are we
it's
doing
the
there?
future.
It's a geothermal plant, I think is the idea. Which makes sense if
You wouldn't do that over exposed lava, though.
No, you wouldn't. That's true.
And in the future,
In the future, things still burn, Ian.
not
It's
Omnix.
I mean, they're shown to still burn.
I remember I was watching the stream yesterday, Ian, and someone was just like, "Yeah, the Omnics who work on this map just have like an increasingly loud a sound effect that goes on throughout the match." I
Cooling fan that just gets louder as the match goes on.
I fucking love that. So yeah, I think it's gorgeous. It's Samoa in general is like just in real life is a gorgeous place.
And it's a very unique map.
Yeah.
Very visually distinctive through the architect, the art direction, the colors. It's so rich and vibrant. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
pleasing.
I
And,
mean-
oh man, mwah.
I mean-
congratulate. Honestly, if I could say one thing, the aesthetics are just down pat for Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
In terms of the maps, they look gorgeous, especially with the new lighting and everything. Just
I think it's really interesting because I feel like oceanic countries get way too little representation besides like Australia and New Zealand. And so this was super, super interesting to me because Samoa is a tiny country. Like it's like 2 islands, but and like when I saw this map, I was like, the first thing that went through my mind was like, this map must make up like a sizable portion of the country because Samoa is small. Like I'm exaggerating when I say that, but Samoa is very small. They've done small countries before. They've done Monaco, which is the second smallest country in the world, but
Not a country, that's a racetrack with people living on it.
essentially it's a casino and a racetrack that people live in.
Exactly. It's
So
a casino and a racetrack that are legally distinct.
Yeah. So it's I really like the idea of small countries getting maps. So I don't know. I also really love the sort of Peloponnesian look, and I also love in some part of the map there's like a bunch of tikis from different parts of the oceanic countries. So like they have one that's from Hawaii, one from the Cook Islands, one from I think it was from Kiribati, I believe, is one of them. And then one from New Zealand, and it's just really cool. It's I love that stuff. So I've always wanted to go out there, because for Hawaii and American Samoa, I don't need a passport. So, yeah. So I've always wanted to go out there, but I'm very excited about yeah, this map. Oh, and obviously Guam and the Mariana Islands, but those are a little different culturally. They're more distinct. That's a different topic. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on the map. I think it's gorgeous. I don't really have much to say about it gameplay wise because
yeah, it's far too early days to be honest. Like
too early to say.
Of the day we are recording, it's only been out. I want to say
a couple days,
a day and a half,
a
day and a half, something like
1.5, 2
something
days.
like that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's just one of the
gameplay. It plays well.
yeah, definitely. I have no complaints of it. It's really fun, and also like I love the contrast of like kind of like this ocean part and also the lava, and and also how many like cool, interesting environmental stuff that you can do. So, for example, you can boop people, you can kind of hide. There's oh, it's just it's so good, man. Overwatch 2 is so good.
If it was epic.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just heard Jazz say, "Oh man, Overwatch 2 is so good." Those are words I never thought I'd ever hear.
Well, I was about to finish the sentence of like, good at maps.
Yeah, good at maps.
Like, honestly, like I've been very happy with most of the maps that we have gotten. There's only been like a few that I'm like,
aesthetically.
And even at that, it's
yeah.
And even at that, it's more like it's just I don't hate it, but
yeah,
it's one of those things.
Aesthetically, I've loved every single one of them. Gameplay-wise, that is not the case. You know, Exhibit A, Circuit Royale,
the sniper incident,
the Hell map. But
do you know, I genuinely mean this when I say I still have not played that map. I have not been in a single match with that one map.
That is a
thank whatever force has kept you out of
that
them.
is a privilege.
The same force that shoves me into Route 66 every 5 seconds.
Exactly.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, that's also getting reworked apparently.
Yeah,
I've never been more happier.
But I mean, isn't your issue with your issue with the way it looks?
Quick impromptu, Jazz. What are your hopes for the rework?
It's deleted by accident.
Ah, shit. Ah, man. Just like Hog, for real.
Yeah. The thing is that like not only it's like the one map that I play on it and I don't have a good time. I don't think it's a well constructed map. I think it looks ugly. So I also think because I'm on it what feels like every 5 matches, just no matter what happens.
Always return to the fucking cliffs.
I know, and I'm so sick of it. So it's one of those things that like I think it's really like playing on it, and I get it so often, so it's a horrific combination. So I just look at it and I'm like, I actually want to scream, but I have no mouth. Like the Blizzard can't hear me.
We gotta take Jazz down to Flagstaff sometime. See if she really thinks it's that ugly.
I never said. Here's the thing, Asher. I always say it looks ugly in standards of like Overwatch's art design. Like they can make Route 66 not look ugly, but they chose to make it look ugly.
I still don't understand. I still don't understand what's ugly about it. Like that's just the way the American Southwest looks. Like that's just how Arizona looks.
I gave you a whole speech. I made graphics.
That's right. You actually made a PowerPoint. I forgot that.
I did. I'm not bringing out that PowerPoint again. No way. I think it's long gone at this stage as well. So no.
I'm about to make an announcement.
Actually, just get Ian with your contacts. Just get me in front of one of the art directors.
The guy who designed it.
I just want to talk to him.
I just want to talk. She says while sharpening her nails.
The Peter Griffin gif. I just want to talk to him. Just loading the shotgun.
I just want to have a friendly chat. Constructive criticism. But yeah, no. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Samoa. So there's very important things about Samoa, and I think it all got us buzzed. There's been slight hints to our
There's a
beloved
particular
Mauga.
man on the map.
There's a particular hinted, not seen. Hinted, not seen. Our
Of
beloved
course,
Mauga.
it's our favorite character, Baptiste himself. He's on the map. If you look in like a certain corner deep in the map, you can find him. Don't
Yeah,
believe
so-
me?
so-
Select him.
So for you guys and also for those at home, there's this one specific room apparently that has Baptiste, his face like circled in a book, and you're like, now why is that happening?
Why is
Now
that
Mauga,
happening?
now Mauga, why'd you do that? Why'd you?
Well, that
this is-
shows that he lives.
It's because like Baptiste is like the top of his fucking hit list, and you know it. Like
the ex that like I'm totally over.
like if I was Baptiste, I would be fucking terrified if this massive Samoan man with double miniguns was after me.
Yeah, from what I remember from the short that we got of Mauga, there's a very weird relationship between those two. It's like a weird friendship-hateship.
Yeah,
You know?
it's
very strange.
it's more like, I think if I remember correctly, the relationship is like Baptiste is one of the only people that Mauga trusts, but like the relation, and as a result, it's like when Mauga does Mauga things, which is to say is just like a fucking brutal lunatic, it's only like Baptiste can calm him down, which I wouldn't say is a friendship. I'd say it's something more akin to like the one guy who is able to control the crazy dog on a leash. So yeah, I'm not really sure how I would describe that relationship, but like
Weapons expert.
what? Yeah, it's if we're gonna talk about like this one room, I think it's really, you know, it has like I think it's funny that there's a Zarya poster.
Oh yeah, he's a fan of Zarya.
I love that he sleeps in a hammock, despite the fact that like that hammock better be made of like the strongest Kevlar ever known to man.
Future hammock.
And there's also that very iconic Hawaiian shirt that
Yeah.
he has
He-
hanging up, the red one.
He has the what is it? Is it sea turtle slippers?
The shark slippers and a
Shark
stuffed
slippers.
sea turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I'm kind of like is he a brute, you know, or is he kind of like this kind of classic barbarian kind of
Oh, no.
type?
I'm
where he's like your bro until shit gets real.
Oh no,
and then...
I'm fully convinced that he's actually just a psychopath. But like that doesn't mean he can't like have like a stuffed animal and stuff like that. He's just
To have bro moments.
Yeah.
And he will also psychotically rip someone's throat
Yes,
out
exactly.
and laugh at it.
I mean, which is basically what he did in the short story. Like, he literally, like, snapped someone's neck and laughed about it. Like, that
Like,
literally
while
happened.
staring at it.
That literally happened in the short story. Like, the dude is fucked up. But, one
Like,
thing...
even Roadhog isn't this cracked.
Yeah, no, not even
No,
Roadhog is...
definitely not.
Yeah, like, Mauga is a different level of just, like, sadistic and insane. So it's,
I mean, again, not to be a negative Nancy, but exactly where do we see Roadhog?
actually,
really-
no, we got that comic that was actually very revealing about what Roadhog is actually
Wait, which
like.
comic?
Wasted Land?
There's a Roadhog comic.
Wasted Land.
When did that happen?
Years ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, like 2018, maybe
Yeah.
even 2017.
Wasted Land?
It was
Did I just
very...
like really?
Overwatch lost media.
It was very telling about how Roadhog is like... He's not insane, he's just unbelievably bitter. And, like, he just doesn't care anymore.
Oh yeah, is it like that very very short? I mean, short for Overwatch standards as well. Comic.
It was a comic. I wouldn't say it was super short. I just think it was very revealing to Roadhog's actual character, because it was like basically his whole shtick is like he's just miserable about what the world is, and he just like wants to get away from Junkertown, but he knows that he can't. That sort of thing. It's he travels with Junkrat because he finds Junkrat like fascinating in the fact that he's just like so
Wow,
utterly
this insane asshole can like do so much.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing. It's
He's an idiot and smart at the same time.
exactly.
Like this absolute genius character who literally fashioned shit out of garbage to turn into limbs.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
He's
like,
just
actually.
fascinated by this guy. You know, honestly, if I were to
I-
meet Junkrat and not be immediately killed by him, I would think the same.
I don't know. I don't really remember this comic at all, which might say to how much I was invested in. Like, to be fair, like I always Junkrat and Roadhog as like one of those characters that like Blizzard just don't really do much with, especially because they have like very interesting like hints to lore, but there's not actually any story there because they keep putting it off. But then that's just Overwatch, isn't it?
Yeah. So
just hinting at things
Go-
instead of showing us.
going back to Mauga though, the one thing that really took me about that is the fact that he has like the bio canisters and in the room, and like I don't know what that's about unless Mauga just like plans on violating the Geneva Convention. I have like
Break a few war crimes.
like
He'd do it to lure Baptiste out.
yeah, he just
You
like
know it.
oh, he absolutely would. It's just like he plans on like using bioweapons on people. So like yeah, I have no idea what that's about.
It's gonna be very interesting. Very interesting now that they've officially like properly hinted towards him now. What's gonna happen? Which actually leads us into our final topic for today.
Well, second
which is,
to last, which is Mauga.
Well, we already talked about Mauga.
Oh, did we? Oh, right.
Yeah,
right.
we literally just got off the topic.
Oh, that's right. We're talking about the Mauga tease, not like actually Mauga. Okay, yeah. So the last topic,
which is BlizzCon 2023. So which is coming up next month, I
Yep.
believe. Very very soon.
Less than a month at this point.
yeah,
Is it?
it starts at the beginning of
I know it's
November.
early November.
The very beginning of November. That's less than a month.
First weekend in November.
Yeah,
So it's like Friday, Saturday. So that's the.
yeah. It's soon.
Gotcha. Well, with that on the
Wait, what's
horizon, we
happening
have,
soon?
to,
I was,
we have
like,
to talk
gone
about
for a
what
second.
we think.
BlizzCon.
BlizzCon.
Ah,
That's a very funny. That's the one topic that's like really funny that you missed out.
it's also the one that I'm gonna be missing out on in
What's
real
happening?
life, probably.
What's happening next month?
It's yeah, I would expect that we're gonna get the Mauga reveal and possibly even a Mauga cinematic. So
I mean, what are you guys doing on BlizzCon? I know you tried to get to BlizzCon.
I would have loved to go, but the problem is that like it would have been over $1,000 in total, which is just completely unreasonable. So yeah.
But it's an experience unlike any
Well,
other.
I don't kind of live.
How could you put a price on?
I can put a price on a lot of things.
I mean, like
the price is what he just said, Ian.
Imagine being in a
Yeah,
room
but-
with me. That's an experience like any other.
But no price
Like
is
no
too
other.
high for an experience like BlizzCon.
ugh.
Well,
Give
I
us
mean,
money.
actually, most are
Do
too
it.
high for that.
I mean, like
Well, I mean,
as I've
I don't
said,
live in America, so therefore you know my answer.
yeah.
Hope we get to see some Blizzard entertaining clips.
Like, the problem for me is, like, the only reason I had any interest in going was because Ian might go. And so, like,
Want to see your man?
and, like, it's just, like, it's $1,200 for that. Ian, I love you, buddy, but, like, I don't even know if you're going, and it's $1,200.
I don't even know if I'm going.
Yeah.
It would be really funny if you like walked up and you're like, because we technically still don't know what Ian looks like.
No, we don't.
So like it would be really funny. You're like, "Where's the robot?" And you see a robot. little
Oh
puppet.
my god, you would come out in the fucking Halloween costume of your own character.
You just like
Oh
wear
my god, that'd be amazing.
wear a paper bag on your head of like your robot. That's what
Wear
you
a
should
hamster
do.
mask.
Yeah, and underneath
No one
it is a
knows who I
hamster
am.
mask. Yeah.
No one knows who I am behind the mask.
A hamster mask with the Kiriko headband on. That's what I would do.
Ugh.
Oh god. No. You're cosplay as Kiriko.
Oh,
You're
God.
cosplay as Kiriko. How cursed is that? Your first meeting?
Very cursed.
Jesus. God bless. Ian, I suppose you're probably the expert on like what do you think is happening this month?
They're gonna reveal Mauga as the new hero. There's probably gonna be an animated short that features him as well. And then they're gonna say something about haha big things 2024, maybe mentioning the PvE again. That's my theory.
So
the wildest thing they'll
Not a
show outside of Mauga, I think, is a snippet of the next PvE. But I wouldn't. Actually, no, they would actually have one of them finished, and that's the Zen one because we saw that one in 2019.
right.
Again, we have to know. Just because we saw it doesn't mean it's happening, apparently.
Well, we know that that's the next location because that's literally the one that gets teased in the game.
Right.
Yeah, that would be the next mission in terms of the story, but the question is, will there be a next mission?
What do you
Or
mean?
will the game die?
I genuinely
Overwatch-
think they might just axe future PvE at this point.
Really?
Really?
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
I find that
think if they do
highly
continue it, it's
unlikely.
going to be relegated to things like Trials of Sanctuary, where it's like one-off PvE events that tie into seasons and things like that.
I don't know. I feel
mean-
like that might be a bridge too far.
I mean, it links back to what we were saying at the very start of it, of like how much money did this actually make them, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
we just don't know.
We don't
And I
know.
don't think,
I
I
We
don't
don't know.
even if
I think
they-
We don't
the
know.
fact we don't know, the silence speaks volumes.
They're
Because
not
if it
boasting
sold
about it, that's for
gangbusters,
sure.
They would have said so.
If it was super successful, they would have said so.
Yeah,
But
they
they
hyped
haven't.
and marketed the hell out of Season 6. And then as soon as it launched, we hear nothing.
Hmm.
Didn't they get like a
I
bunch
think
of
that's
content creators
indicative.
on as well? And then no one played it?
When?
Like right before.
Oh, yeah, there was the Creator Summit, which was immediately before the season launched. And then there was like the smaller thing they did like a month earlier than that, where they got like 6 people who don't give a shit about PvE to come and play the PvE.
Right.
And that was funny.
And there was also a little marketing push of like people like Shroud and Tim the Tatman playing it, but it was
Oh,
very
yeah,
clearly
the whole-
sponsored.
The whole John Cena thing as well.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, no, they marketed the hell out of Season 6. And then it launched, and nobody said anything.
Yep.
I think the future of I think if Blizzard are smart, again, if they're smart, they would get Mauga, release Mauga, or announce Mauga. They would have it with a animated short, not just the hero kind of like, oh, what are they called? The hero
Animated
backstory.
short.
That
Origin story?
no,
What? Yeah.
no, do you know the origin story? Thank
Yeah.
you. They wouldn't end it at just the origin story. They would have the animated thing. Because again, I think Overwatch just suffers so badly with like they just don't hype themselves up. They're really bad at like hyping things up or focusing on things that would generate hype or naturally. And I think Mauga is one of those last things that like if they fuck this up, genuinely have no idea what they're doing. Please, Blizzard, please do anything in your power to please have an animation short with Mauga, and please let it be Mauga. And then I suppose they're going to have announced what PvE is, you know, the schedule for PvE at BlizzCon. I think that's what's going to happen, and I don't think we're going to get anything else other than that. Because like PvE is just such a mystery because they've outright said nothing. They haven't even announced when we're getting a next one or how often to expect this.
Right.
And we also don't know how far of development did PvE get to in the end. Like, we only know that it goes to as far as we see Sombra and Widow. We have, like, chase scenes with them. they're in the next short, so we assume that's coming up next. But other than that, it's new territory from here on out, folks. And I suppose on that kind of bitter note, for overall positive podcast, I think that's how we'll leave it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the last thing I'll say is that, oh my god, if they actually end up canceling the PvE, all hope is lost. And, yeah.
I don't think all hope is lost. It's just more of the same at this point. I didn't care about the PvE anyways because it was
It's the only thing I care about at this point. Genuinely.
I didn't care about the PvE because it was bad.
Wow.
This story is genuinely the only thing I care about at this point.
I mean, for me anyway, the PvE was a chance to like them actually capitalizing on the characters and story that we all really liked way back when, and then they haven't done anything with. So, and like I said, I think when PvE was announced, I said that the one thing that they haven't been able to capitalize on or monetize is the story, so it kind of made sense. But we shall see. I don't know about you guys. I want to lie down.
Yep, I gotta run. I have class. So, I think that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, or listening, I guess.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, all that.
Join our Discord.
All that good shit.
Especially comment. If you're from Monaco, fight me.
Yeah, comments.
Phil, I know you're
oh yeah, Phil.
watching, Phil. I know you're listening. You better comment, Phil.
All right. So, yeah, I think that's it. I think the last thing we have is your closing remark, Ness.
Oh, okay. Instead of a closing remark this time, can you put up the GIF of the cat going happy, happy, happy?
What?
There's your closing remark.
Okay. This gets worse every single time.
Just, I'll send you it, and then you have to put it at the end of the episode now.
Okay, well, I guess that's it. Thanks, everyone. See you later. Bye.
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 Bye.